Hello. So this is just my presentation over the project I've been doing for Marketing 2370. Now, before we get into the whole digital marketing campaign method that I chose to do, obviously it's first important to kind of go over what's the company that I'm marketing for exactly. So I made up a company called Fastcasts. So Fastcasts offers NASCAR fans high quality, small scale NASCAR diecast vehicles. So the thing that kind of separates this from competitors like Hot Wheels or Greenlight or whatever is that it produces race win versions of diecast, which is basically taking the car that won whatever NASCAR race on Sunday and making that into a small scale diecast. And then on top of that, we it also offers custom designs to be turned into diecast for purchase. So that way fans can just submit their own designs and get it into an actual car that they can hold and put onto display and all that. So FastCast as a company is supposed to focus on providing much more consistent quality control management compared to the current NASCAR diecast producer, and then also having comparatively faster production and shipping times. And on top of that, it offers fans a way to actually collect previously unmade NASCAR diecast vehicles as well. So with a company like that, what is the marketing campaign strategy? So the company is going to operate an official X and Instagram account. So the content on both of these accounts is going to be mostly image focused, and it highlights cars with special liveries or designs rather for the given week's NASCAR race event. The posts themselves will either advertise the cars as available for purchase already relatively quick, or they will just promote the race event overall and push for further user engagement with the social media accounts. So, the goals of this whole marketing campaign is to kind of spread awareness about the brand to begin with, since it's brand new, and then foster an engaging social media environment that will hopefully result in actual engagement. And the KPIs that are going to be measured for this were going to be likes, bookmarks, reposts, sends, and comments for Instagram, as those are the ones that are readily like available and shown off to the page admin. And then in terms of X, it was going to be measured with KPIs like likes, bookmarks, reposts, quotes, and comments. So something that kind of became immediately apparent during the beginning part of the social media marketing campaign is that there was honestly a lack of any real notable traction at all. And just going back on it, besides like a couple likes on the Instagram page for the first half of this campaign, it was basically all zeros across all important metrics and the KPIs that I mentioned in the last slide. So obviously something needed to change. So some adjustments were made, which included a calculated use of more relevant and effective hashtags, and as well as just posting content closer to the day of and the end of the actual race that was going on that given week. And the whole point of this was to kind of increase the reach to the target market more effectively, and then also trying to reach them when they're going to be most active online anyway, considering that they would be talking about the race on social media. So, with these adjustments in mind, let's just kind of take a look at the social media KPIs on both Instagram and X before and after the adjustments. So, before the adjustments, during the first two, we'll call them weeks, rough estimation on the time span. But on the first 2 weeks before the adjustments, Instagram, the page gained 0 followers. It only gained like 2 likes on one of the posts on the first half, and then 0 comments. And then you kind of saw something similar with the X page where it got 0 followers. It did get 17 overall views across the posts made in the first half of this social media digital campaign. But then other than those views, it was just zeros in terms of likes and then comments. Now, after the adjustments were made, Instagram saw that an increase in followers of 3, increase of likes up to 6, and then we even got a comment on that page. And then meanwhile on X, the page got 2 followers. It gained 35 views overall on its posts on the second half, 4 likes, and then that one also managed to get a comment on one of its posts. Now, just taking a look at that objectively speaking, there's small numbers, So you could make the argument that the overall success of this marketing campaign was sort of lacking, and I admit that I feel that way a little bit as well. But I think it's important to kind of take into the context the fact that this is a brand new account for a company that doesn't even exist, and I would say, considering the adjustments that were made and how much of an increase we saw in likes and then comments and followers, I would say that with the adjustments at least, it was comparatively speaking a success, I would say. Now, obviously, the overall challenges that are quite evident was just making content that would actually make it to the target market. And then with that content, trying to foster interactions or at least the environment to where people would be open to interacting with the page in any way, whether it be just the simple likes or even like the more engaging comments, which we did kind of see after the adjustments were made. Now, in terms of recommendations, some of it was kind of talked about in the last slide, but just an improved post schedule where I think I had the right idea in terms of posting content closer to the actual race event, whether it was before or after, instead of kind of doing just some during the week and then a post during the day of the race. I think that saw a bit more effectiveness. And then on top of just the improved post schedule, it would help to kind of increase the post frequency, because then after all, the more posts there are on a page, the more likely that somebody's like, able to stumble upon it by chance. And then I thought the thoughtful use of effective hashtags was especially important because we saw that based on the adjustments that once like the hashtag usage was a bit more well tuned and more focused, I believe it did help in actually getting those increase in KPIs. And then on top of that, I think the biggest thing is just to find alternative reach methods. So there was some aversion that's gonna be talked about in the actual reports that I'm gonna submit with this video, but I was a little bit hesitant to kind of advertise the page or pages, I should say, in ways that could honestly come off as kind of like as if the page was a spam content. But then, obviously, if a company is trying to actually reach out to its target market, it needs to do everything it can, reasonably speaking, at least, to actually get to the view of the target audience. So it wouldn't hurt to at least try to advertise the page to forums on pages like Reddit, and then also reply to bigger pages that have to deal with NASCAR or diecasts. That was an idea that I had that I didn't want to, again, because I was afraid it would come off as spam. But if the company is sort of present in these bigger pages that are getting a lot of likes, views, comments, then it's then naturally going to kind of see some more traction since the target audience for us is already going to be there in the comment section of these larger pages, whether they're like the NASCAR official pages or even Lionel Racing or the team social media accounts and all that. So yeah, like I said, even though maybe objectively speaking it wasn't that great of a success, I would say considering the circumstances, very comparatively speaking, it was a good success. So yeah.